In 1904, President Theodore Roosevelt wrote to the Secretary of the Treasury, Leslie Shaw, "I think our coinage is artistically of atrocious hideousness. Would it be possible, without asking the permission of Congress, to employ a man like St. Gaudens to give us a coinage that would have some beauty?" President Roosevelt was referring to the famed sculptor Augustus St. Gaudens, the first outside artist that the U.S. Mint hired to design circulating coinage. It was his artistry, combined with President Theodore Roosevelt's passion for numismatics, that created some of the most beautiful coins ever struck. Roosevelt would pursue other elite artists to redesign our coinage, creating a movement that we call the Renaissance of American Coinage. The Renaissance of American coinage is without a doubt the most iconic period in our numismatic history. This is a period which elevated the artistry of our country's coinage to the caliber of the ancient Greeks. Sparked by the vision of President Theodore Roosevelt, in 1905, Roosevelt asked St. Gaudens to engrave a medal for his inauguration, despite the fact that the Mint chief engraver Charles Barber had already crafted an official inaugural medal. Roosevelt didn't really like Barber's design, and he turned to St. Gaudens for a finer piece. In a letter regarding St. Gaudens' medal, Roosevelt wrote, "Thank heaven, we have at last some artistic work of permanent worth done for the government. I don't want to slop over it, but I feel just as if we had suddenly imported a little of Greece of the 5th or 4th centuries BC into America." When St. Gaudens learned of Roosevelt's interest in employing him to design new American coinage, he initially was kind of reluctant. He'd had an unfavorable experience working with the U.S. Mint in the past. It was on a medal for the Columbian Exhibition in 1892. And Charles Barber, the Mint director at that time, he completely changed St. Gaudens' design without consulting him. And St. Gaudens swore he would never work with the U.S. Mint again. But Roosevelt was able to convince St. Gaudens that they had a shared vision for our coinage, and eventually St. Gaudens was flattered by the idea. In a letter to the president, he wrote, "I am extremely interested in the matter of the new designs for the coinage and am honored by your desire that I should give thought and advice on the subject." In an unprecedented move, President Roosevelt commissioned St. Gaudens to create a design for a circulating piece of American coinage. This was the first time in U.S. history that an artist outside of the Mint was contracted to design a coin, as opposed to a Mint employee designing a coin in-house. The St. Gaudens Gold Double Eagle was designed by Augustus St. Gaudens and struck from 1907 to 1933. The Indian Head Gold Eagle was also designed by Augustus St. Gaudens. Although he was originally commissioned to design all gold coins as well as the cent, his untimely death allowed for only 2 coins to be redesigned. Like the St. Gaudens Gold Double Eagle, the Indian Head was struck intermittently from 1907 to 1933. The Indian Head Quarter Eagle and Half Eagle were designed by Bella Lyon Pratt. Pratt used an incuse design for these coins, meaning the design was pressed into the coin instead of being raised, making these coins unique among circulating U.S. coinage. Both designs were struck intermittently from 1908 to 1929. Victor D. Brenner designed the Lincoln cent after one of his bas-relief sculptures of President Abraham Lincoln. The obverse displays a stoic bust of our 16th president, Abraham Lincoln. The original reverse showcases 2 ears of wheat encircling the denomination 1 cent. As a result of this reverse design, these coins are known as wheat ear Lincoln cents, or Wheaties. This reverse was used from 1909 to 1958 when it was replaced with the Lincoln Memorial reverse. Also known as the Indian head nickel, the Buffalo nickel was designed by James Earl Frazier. The Buffalo nickel was struck from 1913 to 1938. Also known as the Winged Liberty head, the Mercury dime was designed by Adolph A. Weinman. The obverse displays Lady Liberty in a winged cap, which resembles the Roman god Mercury's cap, hence the name Mercury dime. The Mercury dime was struck from 1916 to 1945. Adolph A. Weinman is perhaps most well known for his Walking Liberty design on the half dollar, which was struck from 1916 to 1947. The Standing Liberty quarter was designed by Herman McNeil and struck from 1916 to 1930. The final coin designed during the Renaissance of American coinage was Anthony D. Francisi's Peace Dollar, which was struck on the silver dollar from 1921 until 1935. The Renaissance era put our coinage in the hands of the finest artists of the day. Roosevelt believed that art could be an inspiration for all Americans, and that great art should not be only available to the wealthy in our nation, it should be available to every American. And the best way to appreciate and be inspired by great art was through our coinage, as daily reminders in the symbols and words of who we are as Americans. To this day, coins of the Renaissance era are celebrated for their innovation, their symbolism, and of course, their beauty.